no hi ula I te hola I ana e ti o ai o kula ni hakoi. E pua makamae na kawai kuile hua o ai a tea. A kuhea kukaleo he polo ai nana e tupa o makahana loa e. Oni ana nei loa aku I te uo te o leo hana tahi. Dai mai ka mahere he tauna o hilo leile hua o hiluhi. Tahi ko ia mea o na e tino lau he hoa tua I te tahua lea lea. O ia moho o ia tu o ke kua hivi ke kuolo no tanau nai. Hoi mai e ho ulu ia he halala I te houpo na e tini. I ta haili aloha o halagulani hoa ka lei me he manu e kani nei. E ho ulu nei I ta mauli o nā o ka hua nā hukupu nai. I ka moku nei o ke ave o Hawaii inui a tea I ta halau ai. O ke aloha
The Merry Monarch Festival hosts Hawaii's premier hula competition. Some call it the Super Bowl of hula. And every spring, for 1 week, sleepy Hilo Town becomes the hula capital of the world. If you want to watch it in person, it takes a bit of luck because the festival receives 3 times as many ticket requests as the stadium can hold. And at the Merry Monarch Invitational Competition, there is a long waiting list of top hula schools just waiting for a chance to step onto its revered stage.
Merry Monarch. It's an amazing place where Hawaiians gather and bring all of the best energy that they have and celebrate and compete because Hawaiians are very competitive.
In Hawaiian, the word ho'okuku means to compete. And our Hawaiian people, for generations, for centuries, have been very, very competitive, whether it be surfing or paddling or composing and oratory and that sort of thing.
The festival is named in honor of King Kalakaua, who ruled the island nation from 1874 to 1891. He was often referred to as the Merry Monarch because of his love of the arts, music, and the Hawaiian traditions of chanting and hula. It is estimated that the native population numbered around 45,000 Hawaiians during King Kalakaua's reign, an 80 to 90% decline during the century since British explorers first arrived in the islands. The native population was extremely susceptible to Western diseases and had a difficult time adapting to a new way of life. Before King Kalakaua's rule, much of Hawaiian culture had been removed from public life due to the influence of Christian missionaries and American businessmen and sugar plantation owners. In the 19th century Hawaii, hula was seen as a pagan dance and not fit for proper society. So many of the hula masters went underground and taught hula in secrecy. But King Kalakaua was a patron of Hawaiian culture, and in 1883, during his coronation celebration, he commanded that hula be performed on the grounds of Iolani Palace. From out of the shadows, hula had emerged and taken its rightful place at the center of Hawaiian culture. Contained in its ancient chants were the cultural knowledge and histories of the Hawaiian people. The Merry Monarch Festival began in 1964 as a way to attract tourists and boost the local economy of the Big Island of Hawaii, because a few years before, a tidal wave had destroyed much of its capital of Hilo Town, and many businesses were still struggling. Under the stewardship of co-founders George Naope, a hula master, and Dorothy Thompson, who took over the day-to-day management, the festival grew from humble beginnings to become an annual event that is followed by hula fans across the world. And today, during Merry Monarch Week, the spirit and legacy of King Kalakaua is alive and well, with oversold hotels, shops, and restaurants jammed with customers, and a full stadium for 4 consecutive nights of hula, Hawaiian chant, and music. During our television program about hula, you may hear certain unfamiliar words and phrases. To help you better appreciate our native art form, we'd like to explain some of the more commonly used terms. Halau. Traditionally, a halau was a longhouse where hula was taught or canoes were stored. Today, a hula school is often called a halau hula. Kumu hula. A kumu hula is a hula master or teacher. Haumana. A haumana is a student, pupil, or apprentice. Olapa. An olapa is a dancer, also to flash like lightning or to blaze suddenly. Mele. A mele is a song or chant that accompanies a hula. Oli. An oli is a chant that is not danced to. Often it has long phrases that are chanted in one breath. Hula kahiko. The hula kahiko is an ancient style of hula, usually accompanied by native percussion implements and chants. Hula awana. The hula awana is an informal, free-flowing hula, usually accompanied by musical instruments.
I really look at the mana again, or the spiritual power of all the mele. People who come into the Merry Monarch Festival have been bringing to life entities of our ancient past for many, many months.
It's important that we document those mele that have been taught, that have survived the generations. But it's also important for us to write new mele that documents the history of our time.
In recent years, we have seen the emergence of many haku mele, or skilled composers of chants. Writing in the poetic style of ancient Hawaiians, they are the storytellers and historians of our time.
Malama ke ka ko aloha o ie Ike Ikanani a Lilinoi, to see or witness the beauty of the goddess Lilinoi. I had memory of being at the top of Mauna Kea, and the most distinct thing in my memory was touching the waters of Lake Waiau. Very close to Lake Waiau is situated Pu'ulilinoi. The mamane blossom that grows up at Mauna Kea and my emotions, my feelings, my love, my purpose, my inspiration for this mele. My teachers were great inspirations for me. So they instilled with me this caution and this care. So I take the expertise that they instilled within me and I work with that. They are my foundation and I work from that foundation. The most important thing or kuleana or responsibility they gave to me was to give that song, that mele, life.
What was very interesting besides the hula itself was what we did as an oli. And an oli is an unaccompanied chant. And we not only did an oli, but we did a genealogy that went back 15 or 16 generations. And that was done for Princess Like Like in kind of establishing her mana, or her spiritual power and connectedness to the ancient kings of Hawaii Island.
When King David Kalakaua came to the throne in 1874, he named his younger sister, Miriam Like Like, as governor of Hawaii Island. Newly composed by Kumuhula Manu Boyd in honor of Princess Like Like, this mele describes the volcanic area of Puna and its fragrant flowers.
I composed the mele for a number of reasons. One was as an exercise, as a composer, to create a poem or a mele that is in old style. There's a lot of repetition. There's a refrain of kalu kalu hea, which means very sweet. Often a halau or hula school will take an educational trip
to learn more about the mele they are dancing to. At the cliffs of Kauai, these dancers experienced their relationship to the land that provides inspiration and adornments for the dancers.
To be part of the Merry Monarch, it's not one's decision, it's an invitation, and it's such a prestigious event, and I am honored. I am just and humbled.
While I was heading there, in your mind you're just set to, you want to see what you've been dancing for, what you've been waiting for, and what you want to see it so you can show the judges. You want to take them there.
Today we had an opportunity to go to the beautiful Naupali Coast. Naupali, of course, means the cliffs, and it is miles and miles of sheer cliffs, standing thousands of feet tall, sea caves all along the way, cascading waterfalls. Out there, of course, is Nu'ololo, and that's where we visited, and of course, standing there is Kamaile.
What is
Ola ke kupahailona hio Kamaile.
It is such a huge honor to represent our island. And what I ask of my girls is not only to share the mele that they have learned, but to somehow, with their hearts, with their minds, with their na'au, grab everyone there in Hilo that's watching and bring them home to Kauai.
In this mele, Hano Hano Waimea, Queen Kapi'olani traveled around the island of Kauai to encourage her people to properly care for their children. She is concerned about the perpetuation of the Hawaiian race after many years of disease and decline.
There were a lot of young children, dying at a very young age, and she went over and visited the areas to encourage them to take care of the young ones so that the race would be increased. And so her motto was Ho'olu la hui, or to bring life or bring growth to the race.
tuku e ua kiki a ola nana ia e poli o le ua ai ai kala i o malua ka kuule i o hai lo e ukai e hoa ka ana no li maloa no ka ola li o kalana mai hiki mai te aloha le ai ne ho apa apa lai papi o uri e hoa ka ana no li maloa no ka ola li kalana mai hiki mai te aloha le ai ne ho apa apa lai papi o uri e ui e pili me pana e mame ke one a he oru luhi he vai te anu o aipo I au kano e anu o alakari.
For them to understand the movement and the gestures, it's extremely important that they understand the words. Other dance forms, ballet, jazz, Western dance forms, you do not need to have the words. But without the poetry and the mele, hula doesn't exist.
Ane I mai oi kalei a ali e he aina bua o ka ue kame e ala e a.
The next hula honors some of the famous places on the northeastern side of Oahu Island, where this halau hula, or school, is located. Although the chant was composed in the year 2011, its language and imagery reflect the poetic style of the ancient Hawaiian chants of centuries past.
So many emotions go through me as I'm chanting Hie Hie Olamana, because every verse and every line, every place name, every person that's mentioned brings so many memories. It also is really easy for me to chant that with expression and to deliver it to the dancers so that they are also inspired to dance with love and expression. It was written for Merry Monarch this year, for them to dance specifically. So it's easier for them to own it when it's written for them and they know all the places, and we talk about the places, they know what's happening in the chant, and what's happening in the chant is documenting what's happening in Kailua today, the things that we're involved with culturally.
E iwa ole na e ho o haina ulu o kahino kaunupu I waialo a e ala e ala e ai.
The crafting of hula implements has deep meanings that go far beyond their rich sounds. For the Merry Monarch Hula competition, Kumuhula Snowbird Bento asked a master craftsman to create implements in the traditional ancient style.
It should kind of sound like wind swishing through the trees. That's the thing about an instrument, in that you want it to have shape that you like. The visual is important, but the sound is critical. That's what a musical instrument is about. It's about the sound. Because it's a being in itself. Its history is important to me, So I love making instruments from this place where my family has history for hundreds of years, and actually we can say forever. I've been here forever, and these things growing here have been here forever. And it comes from this place. And so, the music we were doing today, it's fun because it's us, and it has no beginning, it has no end, and it's just today and this time.
There are many hula chants and legends about Pele, the fire goddess of the volcanoes. In this mele, she sends her sister, Hi'iaka, to fetch her mortal lover, Chief Lohi'au. The journey is difficult, but guided by omens and signs, Hi'iaka is able to reach her destination on Kauai Island.
I like the men to be strong and to show their strength and to show especially their endurance and stamina for hula. Like being able to make something very difficult look easy. When you dance hula, the muscles that you use, especially in your legs, there is no training that's going to build that out except for the hula, because it's all different muscles. use the red dirt on that side of the island to dye the drapes and the pa'u that the men had on and the malo, and to use these earth tones to depict the surroundings, because Kaena is a very dry, barren place.
Composed by King David Kalakaua for his wife, Queen Kapi'olani, this mele expresses the beauty of Nu'uanu Valley on Oahu Island. It is thought that references to a love triangle are hidden in the veiled metaphors and poetic phrases of the chant.
That experience of connecting with your hula brother or hula sister at one end of the stage and all the way back and all around is like a feeling you can't explain unless you've felt that. And whatever happens, happens. Sometimes you're gonna win, and sometimes you're not gonna win. And it's all okay.
Awana music, of course, is modern music. So just the type of instruments we use is going to set the dancer up in a different way. The ukulele, the guitar, the piano, it gives you a refreshing kind of, beat that you want to just, do some dancing to.
In the Hula Awana competition, dancers will be wearing beautiful costumes and adornments. We went behind the scenes to meet some of the people who created the look for this halo.
No turn, no left. It really is a gathering of friends, but among those friends are, Patty Kuamo'o, who does makeup, and she directs and designs the makeup. Hanale Ramirez, who designs the hair, and their team members. So while I've known them individually for many, many years, they kind of come to the table with very specific expertise that I don't have.
When the minds come together, everybody has an input. Of course, the kumbo is the final, but we need each other. The creative part, even the dancer and the kumbos, that creates it. That's when we know, oh, this is the look. This is what we're going for.
I've been working with Manu for several years now, and I feel like it's a really special experience because he takes it on all different levels. It's not just the physical level where it's how you look, but it comes from the inside and shares the spirituality.
He has a vision. He can't put a comb or brush or can a spray to. We can. And it comes across.
Really is the neck lay of the lei huamanu. I think what it is that makes us all work well together is that we share some of the same values, and we know that the end product is something that we want to be proud of, and we can also say that we'll have an impact, a positive impact on other people. It's beyond us.
It's totally aloha, which we always say, from the heart, you give. Nothing to return, just give. And that's why I do it. I was blessed with the talent that I am a creative person. I believe that's the responsibility that you take and you share.
I'iloli Aloha is a love song, an expression of deep and lasting love for the composer's wife. Written by Ki Ope Raymond and set to music by Robert Casimiro, the lyrics humbly state, "My adoring love is for you alone."
Deep love, this deep affection was important for us, for our women, to find a song that would move them so that that inner beauty really showed our ladies and how they could move so smoothly and how they could bring that inner love and strength.
Rebecca Lilinoy Sterling won the prestigious title of Miss Aloha Hula, given each year to the top solo dancer, who must show their proficiency in both ancient and modern styles of hula. For her hula awana, she danced to He Noa no Na Keiki o Kabana La Hui. This song was composed in January 1893 by Ellen Prendergast on behalf of the musicians of the Royal Hawaiian Band in protest against the overthrow of the Hawaiian monarchy. Ha'u-ha'u-e is a traditional procreation chant that was adapted to a modern hula style with musical instruments and danced with fun and a lively spirit. But these procreation chants have a serious message: to encourage the perpetuation of the Hawaiian race.
And it's a very risque type of song to get the people, especially the women, crazy. It was more to entice the audience and to do certain motions. I mean, not raunchy kind of motions, and to leave it to the imagination, of course. Many years ago, children played a chanting game called Na'u. They chanted during the sunsets at Ho'onaunau to keep the sun from sinking into the sea. This recently composed mele is presented by the great-grandchildren of those long-gone children at Ho'onaunau, hoping to honor their family and the ancestral lands.
Hallelujah.
The song is based at Honaunau, where my mother-in-law was born and raised. And Kihea and I decided that every year we would go to Honaunau. So the girls grew up remembering mom, remembering their grandmother, and then remembering the history of the Kekuewa family.
Composed by the kumuhula of this halau, Huala Vena gives tribute to the joyful spirit of the late Ali'i Chang, who owned a lavender farm on Maui Island. The lyrics are interwoven with images of the breathtaking views from the farm and memories of a dear friend's generosity and hospitality.
When you're having 18 guys hitting the ipu, it must sound like one. So if you can do that, then the crowd knows. They know that these guys are on, because just like the old schools, you know, this music would be going and then you just see them just dancing together. You know, they weren't doing any motions, just feet work and turning, feet work and turning and looking and looking. That's pretty much what they're doing. And he was singing, so it took me back, you know, way back. And I think the audience or people in hula caught that.
For 50 years, the Merry Monarch Festival has played an important role in the revival of hula and the Hawaiian culture. The stories behind the mele have inspired modern composers to learn the Hawaiian language and to compose new chants in order to tell the stories of their generation. In a continuation of King Kalakaua legacy, the art of Hawaiian dance flourishes today. Hula schools have been established across the globe, in Asia, Canada, South America, and Europe. But the center of the hula world remains here in Hawaii, in Hilo, the hula capital of the world.
The real trophies in any competition and any performance are the students.
The Merry Monarch is the oldest competition we have. And when we go to Hilo, there's a certain energy in Hilo that is only found in Hilo in April at the Merry Monarch.
And I'm humbled by what Merry Monarch has been able to instill in our hula community, this sense of love for hula, this sense of excellence.
You know, it's amazing to see how hula has changed because people are learning more of the language. They want to learn the culture. They want to know history. There's so many things that the young people are hungry for.
If you would like more information regarding this program or other episodes of Pacific Heartbeat, visit www.pacificheartbeat.org.